All right, welcome back to the state capitol. I'm Chief Political Correspondent Mark Davis, along with Governor Dannel Malloy, and this is Ask the Governor and your questions from WTNH.com. Governor, let's get to the next question. This is from Chris in Southington. Why did you give out longevity bonuses when we are in so much debt? We would all like to get bonuses, but in today's economy, you're lucky to have a job.
Hey, I agree. I'm the first governor to do away with longevity bonuses for new employees. We've curtailed them for contract employees, and now we're going to spend the next session adjusting that system for non-contract.
Meaning next year.
February, yeah. The point is that the people who are getting those had already earned them. They have what's called a property right to them, and that's been ruled on by the courts. So they have to have due process to take that away, and the only way to do that is through a legislative session, and that's what we'll do.
You have to change the law.
We have to change the law. Now, there is one other thing, and that is that most of these folks are managers, and they have larger bonuses in part to make sure that they're making more than the people that they supervise. So a larger portion of their total compensation was in that arena. We're going to have to take a look at that. Obviously, in adjusting that system, we're going to have to take that fact into mind. But I want to do away with them. I don't think we should have longevity at all, quite frankly. I've said that publicly, and we're not going to have it for new employees.
But now, in the concession agreement with the unions, they gave them up for 2 years, but they're going to get them again after that.
Correct.
Right? Unless you change the law.
No, they're going to get them again under contract through 22. With respect to new employees, no one starting with the state will ever earn a longevity payment ever again. And let me just finish. And now we have to go back and do the non-contract management employees.
Right, but that's what people say to me, that he's talking through his hat. Because you say, I don't want them, I'm going to do away with them by law, but yet it's in the union agreement that after they give them up for 2 years, they get them back again till 2022.
Yeah, but I didn't give them those things to begin with. They got that in 1997 on a 20-year guarantee basis. Okay, I wasn't governor.
From Governor Rowland.
From Governor Rowland. I wasn't governor then. I wasn't governor last year when the state ran up a $3.5 billion deficit. I'm trying to deal with that situation. And when you do that, you have to deal with the cards that you're dealt. And I'm trying to do that. So I made sure that we're not going to have new employees starting with the expectation that they're going to get longevity payments. We've agreed with our employees up for 2 years, and now we turn to the last group that we have to make some adjustment with, and that's our managers. And we're going to get that job done.
All right, next question. This is from Ahmad in Danbury. He says, why did you have to make the tax increase retroactive to January 2011? Why didn't you just make it take effect from August 2011 forward? Is that our reward for voting for you?
No, actually, Ahmed, I apologize, but we're talking about income tax. For instance, sales tax adjustments took place as of a certain date. Right. They didn't go retroactively. But people pay their income tax on a yearly basis, and it happens to coincide with December 31st. To try to do it otherwise is an absolute nightmare, because people will say, well, I didn't make that money then, I made it in another month, or you know, it just would be an impossible situation for us to deal with, particularly in an environment where so many people are self-employed, and that's the economy that we represent. So just as you pay your federal income tax on a given calendar, you pay your state income tax on the same calendar.
And Governor Weicker did the same thing, and we had the same controversy in 1991.
Let's be very clear. Governor Rell did the same thing when she raised taxes by $1 billion the last time.
Right. All right, let's see if we can get another question in this segment. This is from James in Enfield. He says, Governor, are you trying to play both sides of the Sunday liquor sales issue? You've told the press that you would sign it, yet according to media accounts, you also told lobbyist Carol Hughes that you would not advocate for a bill. Why be so wishy-washy about it? Shouldn't responsible adults be given the opportunity to buy liquor on the day of their choosing like they do in Massachusetts? Carol Hughes is the lobbyist for the package store.
Yeah, and let's be very clear. I inherited a $3.5 billion deficit. I spent almost all of my time in my first session trying to deal with that deficit. A couple of other issues I'll admit I got involved in, but I didn't go in with a full scope of issues that I was going to fight tooth and nail at the same time that I was trying to negotiate with the legislature to pay off a deficit that I didn't create because I wasn't governor, nor did I serve in the legislature. So that's why I said what I said then. Do I believe people should have the right to buy alcohol on Sundays? The answer is yes. Let's see what happens in the next session.
But why don't you put your bully pulpit to work here? People seem to want that.
Yeah, I want it. And it's entirely possible that we'll speak in more frank and direct terms as we get closer to the February deadline. I think I'll be speaking to the issue, but I'm saying quite clearly that I believe Connecticut residents have the right, as they do in, I think now, 48 other states, to purchase alcohol on a Sunday.
But this is a pretty big bully pulpit right now that we're on, so...
I think I said some pretty direct things, to tell you the truth.
Okay. We'll have more of your questions coming up. We'll take a quick break, check the forecast, and be right back at the state capitol. Stay with us. All right, thanks, Steve. And if you're just joining us, I'm Chief Political Correspondent Mark Davis, live at the state capitol with Governor Dannel Malloy, and this is Ask the Governor, and these are your questions. Next question for you, Governor. This comes from Ron in New Haven. He says, if you agree that the death penalty should be on the defendants in the Cheshire case, why would you not want it on the table for a similar case in the future?
Actually, I don't believe in the death penalty, but what I have said is that I would sign a law, if the legislature passes it, that on a going forward basis would eliminate it. I think that that's the proper position to take. I'm not trying to rewrite anyone else's sentence, and my position has been pretty clear. I've been around the ringer on this, and admittedly, it was a difficult thing to do in the midst of an election. If I wasn't going to change my opinion then, I'm certainly not going to change it now.
Right.
I have objections to the death penalty, but what I've said is that I will sign up a law on a prospective basis.
Now, I know we've gone through this before, but these questions keep coming up because of the trial in New Haven. That by your position, and if you were to do that, all of the people on death row who have been sentenced under current state law would be able to appeal on the basis of your signing a law repealing the law.
Well, as you know, we haven't put anyone to death in this state since the 50s who didn't volunteer to be put to death.
Right.
So we don't have a let's be honest, we shouldn't mislead anyone. We don't have a workable statute. We have 2 people on death row over 20 years. The average length of people, I think, is currently 12 years. But let's also remind ourselves that we've actually released people from death row in this state. One state's released 23 people that they subsequently found not guilty.
We haven't released anyone from death row here.
We've released people who potentially could have been subjected to the death penalty.
Right.
And were going to be subjected to the death penalty.
But were found through DNA evidence to be innocent.
Right.
All right. I think we'll have time for one more question, but first we have to take this quick break. Stay with us. Time for one more of your questions here on Ask the Governor for Governor Dannel Malloy. This is from Joseph in New Haven. Wants to know, why doesn't Governor Malloy lead by example in his shared sacrifice plan by taking a 10% cut in his salary and ordering the same cuts to the numerous commissioners, assistant commissioners, and associate, I guess he means deputy commissioners. And this is another one I get a lot of emails on.
Sure. Well, let's be very clear. We didn't ask anyone to take a 10% cut. And what's happening to state employees with respect to benefit packages and that sort of thing is happening to all of the people that have just been mentioned. We are trying to lead by example. We've downsized our staff. I've made a specific commitment to lowering the number of staff people, not only in my office, which I've already done, and total expense, which we've already done, but also throughout the rest of state government. We're trying to find ways to save money, absolutely. At the same time, I'm also trying to attract the best and the brightest to state government. We know that without working hard to find those savings, without downsizing by thousands of people, state government, including management, including people that would work for me or any one of my commissioners, without doing that, then we're not going to make the kind of progress that I've already committed to making. We're going to make that progress, period.
But you don't believe in any sort of token gesture?
I know. All of the people who work for me are making, their insurance package, their benefit package will be impacted just as other employees' benefit package are. Listen, I just got this job and signed up for it. I certainly understand what's being asked for. And what I'm saying is, with respect to everything that's happening with respect to other employees, I think that management needs to share in that.
You still like the job?
I love it. I'm very happy. I love to work hard, and I love to talk to people. And I understand that people aren't necessarily happy with everything I've done, but I didn't create this mess. I didn't roll up this deficit. I got hired to straighten it out, and I'm going to.
Governor, thanks for being with us. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks.
Thanks very much. Now, thanks again for all of your questions, by the way. Now let's see what's up on News 8 at 6.